Hello, everyone. It's good to have you all here. My name is Brendo, and today we shall be talking about another UK scholarship. Now, something to keep in mind is at this time, usually UK universities are done with application, so all applications are closed. So to still have some universities admitting students and still have the scholarship still open, it means if you're watching this video and the research areas align with yours, please pause this video intermittently and apply to this scholarship as soon as possible. Do not save for later. And if there are materials that I mentioned in this video, I will send them to you if you indicate interest. What I would really need from you is to like this video, subscribe. That way it encourages me to keep doing this. All right, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you're familiar with my video, I always mention something, which is there are three different types of scholarship, but the most one I recommend is university specific scholarships. Now, there is less competition for university specific scholarships. So let's talk about this first one. And of course, when looking for scholarship, just always mention the name of your preferred university and just put the word scholarship, and then we search. So today we'll look at the University of Cardiff here in the UK. So it brings us to this page, and all we do is click one. If you're also familiar with my videos, you'd also notice that we do not use filter when searching for scholarships. The only time we use filter is to indicate international. All right. So here we have different scholarship. Now I've looked at all of these, and the one I'm going to talk about today is PhD research scholarship. Now again, we're still talking about PhD research scholarship. So if you're looking for undergraduate or master scholarships, these scholarships are not, there are actually scholarships for those, but they are not fully funded. The ones that are fully funded, which I will talk about today, are fully funded PhD scholarships. So we would look at some of them today. But if you are interested in partial funding, you can look at some of this. So this is the scholarship page. This mentions undergraduates. So we want to go to study and select postgraduate. Okay. So here we are, and then we'll simply go to postgraduate research. Let's search for some of the programs for postgraduate research. Now you'd notice that there are so many here, but we are looking particularly for PhD studentship and project, which I've opened earlier. So let's say, supposing we go to the postgraduate page. I just want to show you how I got to that page so that it becomes easy for anyone to access it. So go to the postgraduate page on University of Cardiff, and on the postgraduate page, you find the list of courses. Okay. And then for funding from the postgraduate page, you go to funding. Here you have the funding, and then from funding, go to loans and grants. From loans and grants, we look for additional sources of funding. Additional sources of funding, not loans and grant, I beg your pardon. So additional sources of funding, and then from there, PhD studentship and project, and then that brings you to this page. Now we want to leave everything as is, unless the funding status. So for funding status, we simply change that to I am a non-European student, and we have 14 scholarships, including for humanities and science. So here you have all 14 scholarship, and you have the deadline attached to each one. For example, this is the 30th of April, this is the 20th of June, and the first one is the 16th of May. I think we have another one. Let's see this one. So this is for School of English, Communication and Philosophy. Now it mentions different scholarship here, and you can apply for these ones. They're interesting scholarships, although some part of it is closed. It says this studentship for fully funded PhD scholarship is closed. However, one of it is open, and that is this funded PhDs for journalism, digital media, and democracy pathway. Now, this one, the deadline is the 16th of May 2025. So you can apply to this scholarship. You can see this, just click on this link for further details about applying for this scholarship. And you can also get a step-by-step guide here on how to apply for this scholarship. I think what I'll do is we'll make it very easy for anyone to access this particular page. I would attach a link to this exact page on the site. Just check on the description and you find the link to this page. So this is just one of the program, and the other one is the Values Archive of Photo Gallery, Community Photography and Democracy. So for anyone interested, you can apply to this scholarship. There seem to be a lot of scholarship lately on climate change. So if that is your research area or research interest, please do apply to this scholarship. Now let's talk about another one which I saw. Now this is the migration, labor abuse, and modern slavery. You already have your particular research area. You have your supervisors, which makes it really cool. You do not have to go looking for a supervisor. The supervisors are already here. Here are the details. Now, what I really find fascinating about this scholarship, I'm just going to tell you a little bit. Usually, in applying for scholarships, you need to submit a research proposal. And in your research proposal, you talk about the research question, the research area. And before you write a research question, you must have done a thorough literature review. So you read the literature and you find the gap. And based on the gap, you formulate research questions. All right. However, here it's different. For these particular ones we're looking at, you've been given potential or possible research questions, and you've been given key dimensions to explore. So all you need, you already have the details. You could put all of this together and write a good research proposal. So let's go back to that page again. So here you have potential or possible research questions. You have three research questions, and you already have the method. So we already have the methodology. Here it mentions the qualitative research design consisting of documentary analysis and primary data collection with social care professionals. So everything has been outlined. It is fascinating, mind-blowing. So you don't have to go through the rigorous process of writing so much on what to do. If you need a step-by-step guide on a research proposal, I have one, although it is not tailored to this particular one. I have one. If you're interested, just let me know at the end of the video. And just remember, please do like the video, subscribe, and just indicate in the comment section that you're interested in a sample research proposal guide, and I will send the guide to you. Now, what do you need? Well, a degree in a relevant department or relevant discipline or equivalent experience. So even if you do not have that degree in the relevant discipline, the experience also matter. A good understanding of social care sector, an ability to do desk-based research. Really cool work. Desk-based research, yes, it is not as well, it is good. I am not going to say anything on that area. But I think this is really cool. Something else that is desirable is experience of co-production research or working with vulnerable population. So this particular one is good, and it is a fully funded scholarship, and it is available both to home and international students. And remember, you also have stipend with this one. The deadline is 12 noon on the 30th of April. So, and remember for this one too, you could be shortlisted, and if you're shortlisted, you'll be invited for an interview. And the deadline or the date for the interview is 33rd of May 2025. You have to submit an application form. You also have to submit academic CV. You need two references and a degree certificate and transcript, and you need to provide proof of English language competency. You might want to check this if you can apply for a waiver. Remember, once again, it covers free tuition both for home students and international students and stipend. And if you're a disabled student, you could also be entitled to disabled student allowance. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, there are others there, for example, social inequality and British documentary style. Now, this one, if it's something that interests you. Now, one thing I would always encourage is don't simply look at the research area and say, you know what, I can't do this part. Because sometimes you don't know. Simply look at the details. If you look at the details and it's something that interests you, if you have work experience related to that, or it's your research area, then just apply for the scholarship. Don't simply reject the scholarship or reject the application because you feel, ah, this is not my research area. If you read it, there could be something there that shows that you have some experience, even personal experience with that, and you might want to apply to it. Okay, now let's go back here. And then we have other types of scholarship. For example, look at this particular one, PhD, journalism, media, and culture. Good stuff. The deadline for this one is the 20th of June, 2025. The start date is October, and you already have what to apply for here. You also have potential supervisors. You can send them inquiries. Okay. Now, other ones include addressing Roman colonial history or story, And there's one I found really interesting. I want to talk about it. Although this is also another one on 3D nanostructured magnetic materials. So for those in science, from the Cardiff School of Physics and Astronomy, those in science, if this is something that interests you, you might want to apply for it. You also have your potential supervisor, and the deadline is the 30th of May. I found this one on creative and critical writing, which is really cool. However, even though there is funding available, the problem with this is that it's only available through the medium of Welsh. So if you understand Welsh, you speak Welsh, then please go ahead and apply for this scholarship. It's fully funded as well. So here again, my friends, is the scholarship for PhD studentship and project from the University of Cardiff. If you're interested in this scholarship, please let me know. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in the sample or the step-by-step guide on how to write a research proposal, just indicate. And once again, please do like the video and subscribe. It really does encourage me in a way. Thank you so much and all the best in your scholarship pursuit.